the last edition of Journalist Hangout for the week. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Now today on the program, Appeal Court sacks Abure, affirms Apapa as Labour Party National Chairman. But let me report that I'm hanging out with Emeka Madunagu. I greet you, Emeka. Welcome.
Yeah, good evening, Citizen. Good evening, viewers.
Our other leg is in faraway Abuja, and I'm talking about Asokwa James. We are going to join him in the course of the show. So the team is ready. I hope you are. Okay, let's start from Abuja, the nation's capital. You know, the retealing process in Nigeria is not only reassuring, but raises hair strands. Scores of pro-democracy demonstrators threw their weight behind the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, over his threat of demolition of illegal structures in Abuja. They insist that the former River State helmsman was merely assuring Nigerians that he would follow due process. Of course, the protesters have a test word for the new ministers: deliver or resign. Emeka, you heard that?
Yeah.
What the Americans mean by shipping or ship out.
Yes. Well, the FCT minister, I think he started on a bullish note on his first day in office. But
not surprising.
The people, well, I think he needs to learn politics more by subterfuge than by just shooting from the hips at all times. Because when you show your hand too early, you make it easy for your opponents and people to fail to read you and prepare very well to wreck your ship. We've seen it happen many times. I think, yes, he did well by coming out to talk about trying to restore the master plan of Abuja. Almost every minister of the FCT has come out to say that. But the people have responded, the residents of Abuja, the natives have said, that the grinding poverty in the FCT, particularly in the satellite towns, should be his priority, not about demolishing houses, but ensuring there's potable water, there's roads, there's security, and that the standard of living of the average people living inside Abuja, in fact the entire FCT, gets improved. So if his focus is only on just demolishing houses, then it means he has not come to do anything differently from past ministers.
No, I'm not puncturing any hole in the balloon you are flying, but in the light of what happened not too long ago in the Federal Capital Territory, where people built on unauthorized land.
Yeah, that was it not the Trademore Estate or something?
Yeah.
Where it flood. Yeah, but those people actually have gone to court. They've held protests to say that
the plots were duly allotted.
But you see, that is a national problem. It's not just about the FCT. You find the corruption in land allocation is mind-boggling all over the nation. There's nowhere any structure, except maybe in the deep interior, there's nowhere around the urban centers, the cities, that people put up structures without government officials knowing about it. They collect bribes, they issue approvals, but they turn around to say they don't know about the construction of such buildings.
Yeah.
So it's not just about threatening those people. How about, you see, like somebody once said, you know, there was a joke many years ago that Nigerians keep talking about removing the bad eggs, getting rid of the bad eggs. What about the chicken that continues to lay those bad eggs? Why don't we try to put the chicken out of business?
Or for that matter, the father of the chicken.
Of course, fine. So you see this. You see, it's a longer, longer thread. Yes.
All right, Emeka. Asokwa James is ready for us at Abuja. Asokwa, good afternoon to you. How do you do?
Good evening, Citizen.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
Okay, you are in the thick of things. You know, I'm sure you are familiar with what we're discussing. the new minister of the FCT is coming with a new broom, and Emeka believes it's initial gra-gra.
Yes.
What's your reaction? What's your reaction here, please? Yeah, are you there? Can you hear me, Sukwo? Okay, we have trouble establishing a link, but we'll try to go back to him. But it doesn't say, I call it a retooling process. Now the country is trying to retool. It is not a bad idea to give Abuja its befitting status.
Of course. That's the meaning Nigeria, the Federal Capital Territory. Unfortunately, under the former minister, the standard in Abuja really fell abysmally. Cows, cows roaming, all over, grazing openly in Abuja, insecurity, people being kidnapped from their homes, and general insecurity, even right inside the nation's capital.
Yeah, Emeka, sorry, happily, we can re-establish contact with Asukwa. Yeah, brother Asukwa, I greet you again.
Yes. Yeah, I think a call was trying to come in, so
all right.
That is technology for you.
Okay, well, we're talking about the new minister of the FCT who is coming with a new broom. Are you scared, as Emeka is somehow here?
I reside in Lagos, so it's only the people that in Abuja that will be scared. So far, so good. At least since I came into Abuja, I've spoken with a couple of people. It has been a sort of mixed feelings, Some are really happy that he has hit the ground running, like every other minister, apart from maybe a few, one or two. But the scary part is the demolition, and some of them are already saying that the demolition is centered around the poor, which I feel that is something that we can communicate more on why he wants to demolish. Because sometimes we make promises about demolishing shanties and unapproved structure, but when you don't make provision for alternative, it becomes a big problem. So you cannot solve one problem and then you open up another problem. So that is where the minister is supposed to look at and see how we can, make alternative. But before going ahead with the demolition, we can give notices to people, because I feel that most of those shanties are not originally planned to be there. Because maybe it's a temporary site of some sort. Like, for instance, the Buhari IDP camp, which is one of the places that has been marked for demolition. I gathered that it was actually meant for IDPs from Borno State, from maybe during the war in the Northeast. So it's something that he can sit down, look at all these places and see the ones that need to go down, and not just outright about maybe 60 or 80 shanties all at once. Because we think if you start to demolish now, when I can tell you for free, most of them will start moving into town. Most of those people who don't have houses will turn to beggars in Abuja, and it becomes a bigger problem. So insecurity will be on the rise. So he has to think through it in terms of demolishing these shanties or these illegal structures, and look at how we can create alternatives. We can create alternatives first before demolishing. But first, he has to communicate his programs to people. We have to communicate the programs to the people so that they will be able to understand, okay, this is where it's going. If he has a plan of where XYZ house or XYZ drainage was supposed to pass and they are building on it, he has to communicate, he has to talk to them. You can't just go outrightly and begin to demolish. We are hopeful that things will get better in FCT. But for one, I would like a situation whereby it does not center only in the Amak area. Abuja has a clue about 6 or thereabout
6 area council, yeah. Council areas.
So we have Bangladesh, we have Abaji, we have Buhari, we have Kwali, we have, so he can extend whatever development he wants to, across those other local governments, so that the major town, which is the Asoko and the Pentama, can be free from so many people or influx of shanties like he wants to demolish. If, for instance, he can easily get a place very close to, Amak, going to Abaji, for instance, acquiring land there, building.
Okay. Thank you. Asoko, we'll get back to you. But back in Lagos here, Emeka, we were there before. Obasanjo's first FCT minister was the immediate past Chief Executive of Kaduna State, Nasir El-Rufai. He undertook to demolish high-rise buildings belonging to big peoples. It was this same hue and cry.
But he was also accused of reallocating some of those seized plots to friends and cronies. You see, the thing about Abuja is that there are a lot of interests, powerful interests involved in the distortion of the Abuja master plan. So it's not just something you dive in like a paratrooper and you start firing on all fronts.
Yeah.
You have to study it very well. And Abuja is supposed to be something like a mega city, just like Lagos and Ogun are supposed to be a mega city. But you see, that has not happened. Abuja is supposed to actually, the FCT is supposed to actually move in different directions. Now, those satellite towns moving in different directions. So we have a housing deficit in Nigeria. By the time you keep demolishing and demolishing, you are increasing the number of homeless people. Then why not upgrade? You can upgrade. You want to
counterbalance that.
Yes.
The fact that Nigerians have a propensity to be headstrong.
Are their leaders better? The fish gets rotten from the head. If our leaders show good example, like I talked about, the officials who give these approvals and turn around to say they don't know anything about it. If the leaders show good example, I don't think Nigerians will do anything differently. So the point I'm trying to make is some of these areas perhaps can be upgraded. Because we have a housing deficit in Nigeria. Government is trying to bridge that housing deficit. And then you see chief executives in the states.
There must be an element of planning about everything.
Yes, there must be. But how many people have been, for instance, prosecuted for colluding with developers to distort master plans in any place? How many people? You just hear about demolitions, but the same government officials who keep benefiting from the distortion of this master plan, they just remain in office. Nothing happens to them. So if you also use some people as an example, then you will show the public that you mean business.
Emeka, we keep crying ourselves hoarse because we hardly punish bad behavior.
That is it, and impunity reigns.
Oh yeah. But Emeka, let's join another colleague, Kola Wale Johnson. Kola, I greet you. Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you, Grandpa.
Thank you. So the FCT minister, like a new kid on the block, is coming with a new broom. Are you surprised?
Certainly, you'll expect Governor Wike to perform. There is no, alternative to that for him. Though he came and he was trying to, sound tough, but of course he knows that he's got his job, cut out for him too. I said this before, that the very last time we had a working minister in FCT was when we had Malam Nasir El-Rufai. It would be good to see a working minister again. I know that Wike is called Mr. Project. However, I will certainly suggest that he will need to listen to the bureaucrats. He will need to listen to technocrats, professionals. And again, knowing well that he's no longer in Port Harcourt. You have he's now at the media center. Lagos, Abuja is there. So whatever he says will be taken out of context a lot of times, and it is too early for him to start with any controversy. However, take it or leave it. Professionals will tell you that many of the reasons, or part of the reasons, while you have, flawed, ravaging different communities and areas, it is because master plans are not respected. You have, of course, block drainage, but more importantly, it's because people are building where they should not build, and master plans, especially in the case of FCT, have not been respected as they should. So you'll expect that for the sanity of the city to come, to play again, there will these structures, these illegal structures, these unapproved structures, these structures standing against the master plan may need to go down. Not necessarily because the government wants to put the people, on the edge, but because we need to respect the plan of the city. Else, all of us will suffer from it. See, sometimes back, it was insecurity. We were shouting that the government, would need to rise to the occasion to ensure the right things are done. The same thing right now. You have some weeks back, you have, an estate in Abuja practically, taken off by flood. If you don't correct the things that have gone wrong thus far, we'll continue to have cases like that, and it won't stop where we have seen them. It will go around the city. So the minister is, of course, it's not out of context by saying that we will need to restore the master plan of the city. It was, however, how he put it, that was the issue. I think so.
Thank you, Kola Kolawole. We'll get back to you. But Emeka, quickly, the protesters are also having a test word for ministers. Perform or get out.
Yeah, that's the expectation. But they should also have a word for the National Assembly, which has oversight of those ministers. The National Assembly should do its duty very well. They should not just sit there enjoying the cozy atmosphere in the National Assembly, in the chambers of the National Assembly. They should do their oversight functions properly, because we find that there's a huge gap in terms of service delivery, because those who are supposed to ask the relevant questions do not do so. They just go on visits to these agents, these MDAs, and close their eyes to clear breaches of the law. Look at the embarrassment in the Federal Character Commission. Look at the issue of illegal recruitment. Yeah. All these things have been there, but successive national assemblies have not done anything. But I think this time there must be a sea change.
After all, Emeka, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Yes.
Okay, to our next story. Will still take us to the nation's capital, Abuja. It was a somber and subdued atmosphere at the National Cemetery, Abuja, as 22 military personnel killed in the tragic August 14 mishap, resulting in the death of about 36 officers, were laid to rest. Family members and friends alike witnessed the ceremony, but I dare say our hearts go out to the survivors, and may the souls of the departed rest in eternal peace, Emeka.
It's a sad one, yet again, the loss of military officers, it's something that saddens many Nigerians who are desirous of a peaceful nation, Nigerians who are desirous of seeing the government overcome these merchants of terror.
Yeah.
The government having control over the security of the nation, not yielding space to non-state actors. And unfortunately, we continue to see these things. I think this attrition rate. Something needs to be done about it. You can see one of the character who claimed he shot down the helicopter, Dogo Gide, has now started referring to himself as a governor, even though the Niger State Police Command has come out to say that Nigerians should disregard it. But you see, he still has some communities in his grip. I think there should be a plan for a sustained assault on that character to make sure that he is no longer able to cause problems in the area.
Yeah. Okay.
The people of the area, the Nigerians, need to be reassured that the government continues to maintain monopoly of violence, and that non-state actors will not be allowed to maintain terror, to maintain a grip on the people.
Yeah.
You see, the killing
of freely.
The killing of these soldiers is a painful thing. These people are well trained, they have families, they have expectations. But I believe somehow the other one day, of course, we've done so well in the Northeast. The military has been doing well in other theaters of conflict. Military and other security agencies, let me also mention them because they too have been losing people. But I hope together we can win this war quickly.
All right. Emeka, let's quickly go back to Asokwa in Abuja. Asokwa, pity your stay in Abuja is punctuated by things like this. How do you react to this this somber atmosphere?
Well, Stephen, it's a very sad moment, very sad news also when this incident actually happened. It is something that not everybody would have thought it would happen, because yes, we know that during wars, stuff like that can happen. There will be damage, but not as much as this, just like Mecca said, I think it's right time to take the battle to these terrorists. So that they're terrorists, or they're bandits, wherever they are, we need to take the battle completely to them. This is not the time for us to begin to even accept anything amnesty, because I heard some governors or some people saying something about amnesty. For crying out loud, these are blood-thirsty animals. They don't care. When once they are out there, they want to kill. So why not take the battle to them and clear them off? And another thing I also want the military authorities to do is also investigate how this happened. It's one thing for us to say, oh, an helicopter actually crashed. It was an helicopter that was going to pick injured soldiers, and it was gone down. It should have been another, maybe another helicopter or a fighter jet, hovering around to ensure that the enemies are not within. So I think it is something that the military authorities can look at, so that if something like this does not happen. But for now, we would condole with the families. We know that this is what their children actually signed for. And Nigeria stands with them. I must say this. Nigeria stands with this family. Because without these soldiers who have paid the supreme price, citizens, you and I cannot close our eyes at the night. They paid that price, and we have to honor them. I pray that this does not happen again. Because even as we speak, most of these soldiers are out there, fighting this same battle. And so we'll keep praying for them to succeed, so that we have peace in Nigeria.
Thank you, Asukwa. And pictures like we're seeing now would raise passion and emotion. I wish our fighting men and women Godspeed. Okay, we'll take a breather now, but please stay. We'll be back very shortly.
barbecue. Unwrap joy. Unleash taste.
In today's world, our lifestyle, both at work and at play, depends on connectivity. Our connectivity depends on the devices that make it possible, and these devices depend on electric power. When power fails, our life shrinks, our work drops, and our joy dips. JRB Solar Energy Systems are here to ensure that we enjoy uninterruptible power, uninterruptible joy. Whether you're running a business, an institution, or just a home you return daily to rest, JRB has got you covered. No project is too big for our super digital inverters, long-lasting batteries, and efficient solar panels. Go. Dream on. Change your world. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights, and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. With JRB, the sun's gonna shine on everything you do.
All right, welcome back. We quickly jet to Abuja in a manner of speaking, where Kolawole Johnson is also waiting at our Abuja studios. KJ, we're back with you. These are moments, sober moments for you and I and for the nation at large.
It's very sad. It's very sad. Of course, we know that uniformed fatalities, it's not strange to war or to the kind of situation that we have on our hand, and quite sad. And it appears lately we've not had it this bad. I mean, it's been reducing, considering where we started from. I think it was only very low in 2015 when we had 134 casualties. 2016, I think it was about 157. 2017, it was about 171. Then, of course, it skyrocketed in 2018 when we had 425 or thereabouts. Then by 2019, we hit the peak when it was around maybe about 650 or 617 and thereabouts. Then from 2020, it was 452. Then I think it's been reducing, but this one is it's tragic, and I think we must say clearly that the armed forces are clearly winning the war in all theater of operations. Recently, that is the truth. So, notwithstanding this particular incident, it will be safe. I mean, maybe we should just encourage our military to please not allow this to dampen the morale. In fact, this should be or this should form part of the catalyst for us to take the battle to the criminals and get them off. This is also reaching out to the family to also pray for them that God will comfort them, and bring joy to those home again.
Thank you, Kolawole, and one more time to the survivors, the families, and both nuclear and extended. We say, may God console them. All right, let's go to our next story. As the new ministers assume office, expectations are high in terms of service delivery. Now, for the Minister of the Interior, Bumi Tunji Ojo, a new order is in place at the ministry. The regime of long and endless wait for issuance of travel passports would be over. Let me quote him. We have to collaborate with the service and make sure that we unburden those bottlenecks and make the service more beneficial to the people, end quote. Now, the minister charged, is this a new day? Time will tell, Emeka.
Well, it should be. It should be a new day because the former minister, Rauf Aregbesola, tried so well to make passport issuance a speedy affair. But there are still some cogs in the wheel of progress. And I think there must be a determined and sustained effort to deal with these problems, whatever problems there are in the issuance of passports.
Because they are mainly
to be
man-made.
dealt with, yes.
They're
Of course,
man-made.
for instance, a friend of mine, I had to assist him. You know, he submitted his application since, was it October or September last year? And the file was just thrown away somewhere until I made some contacts and he was able to, when he went back, they just dug out his file from somewhere.
Parted with some money.
No way.
Okay.
Of course, they wouldn't dare that. I mean,
Okay.
unless that person wants to kiss his job goodbye. So the file was brought out and they attended within a week, his passport was ready. So how do you now justify this clear breach of the law?
So it's deliberate.
It's deliberate. It's deliberate. Today they tell you there are not enough booklets. Tomorrow the booklets are being printed somewhere. And all of these things are just manifestations of the unwillingness of people to abide by the rules governing their functions. And I think this has to change. It has to change. You know, when we talk about some of these things, it's because, you see, people don't want to align themselves with the objectives of the administration in power. If the administration says we want service delivery to be top-notch, why would you now want to frustrate the process? But you see, some people are headstrong. Some people have vested interest in making sure the process doesn't work. And I think the Nigerian Immigration Service needs to be purged of these kind of characters. It's embarrassing. What is the big deal in giving somebody, in issuing passport,
Travel passport, yeah.
to somebody? What's the big deal in it? It's just a document. If the person is found be fit and proper to have a passport, why should you now subject them to an arduous process? Why should you now make things so difficult for them? If you're not ready to do the job, then you should be moved somewhere else.
Emeka, you have raised a poignant question. Why should a man who wants a passport go through hell?
Just like a driver's license. You see, a lot of these things, driver's license, some of these things, you just wonder, why do we major in things that embarrass the nation? Something you can sit in your house, process, like a driver's license, you process it, and it's even delivered to you. You just pay the cost of delivery. If you can't go to the office to collect it, it should be delivered to you.
All right, let's go to Abuja. Asukwo, maybe you have an answer to Emeka's query. Why is it difficult for you and I to get a travel passport without going through the eye of a needle, so to speak?
So, citizen, if you look at it, sometimes when once you go through, just like you said, the driver's license as well as the passport, if you are going through that process, it's like, if you don't suffer, you cannot get it. So you have to be under the sun, under the rain for you to get this thing. And this thing should be seamless. I need a passport or to travel. I should be able to get it in less than a month. I think some days ago, we discussed this. Ifunaya Eze, my colleague, said she had captured 3 months ago, and she has not, did not even call her to tell her, oh, come and collect your passport. 3 months ago. Meanwhile, even before you even start the process, and this is where I want, now that we have a new government in place, there should be a synergy between the Interior Ministry and maybe the Science and Technology Ministry or the Digital Economy Ministry, so that when it comes to the NIN, because sometimes you apply, they will tell you they are waiting a day or two to confirm your NIN. If all these things are going to be seamless, whereby somebody will not send who is in Yanakwaja or who is in Mowe, you will have to drive to take their passport office, and then they will say your NIN is not correct, or you have to come back to network, or there's no network. Most times it's always there is no network. They will tell you there's no network for them to confirm your NIN number. So if it is seamless, if we have a seamless, seamless process, whereby I want a passport, I get to the passport office, I sign off, I do everything. In the next day, you should be able to, or that same day, I should be able to capture. The next day or a day after, I should be called that is ready. I know it's difficult, but there is nothing that we cannot do in Nigeria. If you want it, after all, there's what they call fast track. So how do they do the fast track? So why can't they do the fast track for other people? They'll tell you fast track is so 150,000, 200,000. But when once you say you want to go through the process of 27,000, it will take you months. That is where the minister is supposed to now sit down and begin to look at the human factor. It's the official factor that is embedded in that system. So if I can do fast track for 250 and 27,000 cannot give me passport within a month or within a day or two, then there's a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is where he has to start. He has to start from his people. Thank God he has warned the service chiefs there, those that are involved, the paramilitary and military service chiefs.
As a so many times. Kolawole, the new minister is reading the Riot Act. Do you believe him?
I think I have every cause to believe him, not just because we know him before, his track record, but also because when you're also trying to access, you access also not just on competence, not just on on track record in terms of antecedent. You also look at the language. I mean, he said that in measuring performance, that there must be timelines and key performance indicators. And he also said that responsibility without accountability is irresponsibility. Now that shows clearly that he understands the game, and he understands the job, and he understands that private sector mentality that you bring into the government business. And I think the same thing the president did in Lagos State when he came in 1999, when he was practically driving the process, through the private sector initiative. And of course, that turned the state around, and laid a solid background. So I think the minister is trying to bring his experience in the private sector. And don't forget that passport issuance, not just in Nigeria, across the world, in Nigerian embassies, have been an issue for some time. And this is because there are growing demands for this. And unfortunately, we are losing money. A report came out some years back where it was stated that in Italy, take for example, only 10% of those who should have the passport are actually having it. In fact, it was the least held identification mark by those who should be having the Nigerian passport. Why? Because they are not able to access the passport in different embassies. What should be easy for them, they have turned into what is so difficult. And I think part of the reason is not just because they say some people supply wrong information. If you look at the rate of migration, lately it's been alarming. As a matter of fact, I think the UK put Nigeria as a third country, worldwide with the highest visa issuance. I think the study I brought, yes. Then again, you look at the data again that clearly says that 7 out of every 10 Nigeria, wants to leave the country. So those who are leaving also require passport. So this is bringing pressure on the system. And unfortunately, the country is not even producing its own passport here, despite having, the printing and minting companies that belong to belong to the government. So we should look at. I'm very confident, or I want to express my confidence that my hope that the young man will look at these areas, sit down first, extract the problems. Not just enough to make statements. It is good, but we need to sit down, look at the issues so that we can. If you do proper situational awareness, you do, proper analysis of the problem, you're able to identify, where the issues are, then you can bring tailor-made solutions, to those specific issues. Then, most of those problems might become a thing of the past. But again, I think beyond the passport issue is manning a very strategic, ministry.
Yeah.
We should be looking at him, bringing on board, his work plan, what he wants to do, setting the timeline, putting the focal persons, who will be in charge, so that at the end of the day, he's able to tick his boxes that, okay, we have achieved this, we have achieved this, so that at the end of the day, he can buy himself, beat his chest that he was there and he did well. It will also speak for him later in life.
Thank you, Kola Wale. We wish the minister very well. Abi Emeka?
Yes.
Yeah, because he needs it. All right, let's go to our last story for the evening. Nothing is ever certain in politics. The internal wrangling in the Labour Party camp is far from over. The Court of Appeal in Owerri, Imo State, has sacked Julius Abure and recognized Lamidi Apapa as the national chairman of the Labour Party. Are we to expect more fireworks from here?
That's a misinterpretation of the court judgment. It's not possible for an appeal for one division of the appeal court to nullify decision of another division of the appeal court.
Yeah.
I think Nigerian media should help this democracy by reporting things accurately. If you are not sure of the proceedings, ask for the certified true copy of the judgment. The party has come out today to say there was nothing like that. The issue is about the primaries held by the Lamidi Apapa faction between Okegbu and Maduka. And it had nothing to do with the Abure faction. So where did the issue of Abure being sacked and Lamidi Apapa being declared? How did it come in? When another division of the appeal court had affirmed Julius Abure.
Are you smiling at that, Emeka?
I think, you see, the media needs to be circumspect. I'll blame the media in this. I'll blame the media for this. Because if you are not sure of
your story,
I mean, in a controversial matter like this, you ask for the CTC so that you stick to the wordings of the court.
Get the meat of the story.
You get it, but you don't just fly all over the place. Say the party has come out today to say that there was nothing like that, and it's very simple. We're journalists. It's simple. The only level of the judicial system that can nullify a decision of the appeal court is the Supreme Court. So how can we now say one division of the appeal court upheld Julius Abure as the national chairman of the Labour Party, then another division sacked Julius Abure? Where does that happen in journalism? Where? Have we redefined journalism in Nigeria? So I think when I saw that story, I was peeved because I felt, why? I had to go and check again that, of course, there's a record that the appeal court ruled on so and so and so matter. Yeah. So it's not even. I mean, I even wonder. I wonder what the Chief Justice of Nigeria is doing about some of these things, because you find courts of coordinate jurisdiction issuing conflicting orders. You saw what happened in Abga before the current Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, finally got the ticket to run. They went to Jigawa State. Some went to River State. They were just shopping. Was it even Kebbi? I think they were just shopping, going all over the country looking. Nigerian politicians can be so mischievous. They just make a mess, a mockery of the judiciary. Shopping for court orders left and right, going to all kinds of places, raising all kinds of things. And then at the end of the day, we say the courts are overburdened.
All right, Emeka. Let's find out how surprised, how taken aback Asoko James is in Abuja. Asoko, are you surprised at this one?
I'm really surprised because when the story came out, I was like, how can a court of appeal go against the judgment of another court of appeal? So the whole story was left, right, center. And just like Emeka said, I think we in the media, we need to be very circumspect. Let's not overheat the policy because we want to be the first to either send out the news. We need facts and evidence for us to be able to tell the people the truth about the whole thing, especially in the Labour Party, because whether we like or we don't, they are still a political party that has a force on a record. So, but all these judicial rascalities, I think to them, And that is where the new minister and the attorney general, the attorney
Justice.
general, or of justice, minister of justice, should be able to sit down and see how we can address this issue. Well, once we have a ruling from a high court, that should stand. When once there's a judgment from a court of appeal, the next should be the Supreme Court. You shouldn't go ahead and begin to look for another court of appeal to begin to go against another court of appeal. Then what? Everybody will begin to wonder what is wrong with our judiciary. So right now, just like Emeka said, the media can also help in seeing that anything that concerns the judiciary is well, reported. Is well reported. And even I know that they have an association or whatever. That association should also be, including the Nigerian Union of Journalists, should also be looking at things like this. It's not only about when there is no fuel or when NLC wants to go on strike. We, the media, want to also join the strike. Even our people, we are also a major problem. So the media can also help. Because if the judiciary fails, we all fail.
All right.
And it's going to affect everybody.
Yeah. Kolawole, a wise man said, propaganda does not deceive people. It merely helps people to deceive themselves. So we are there.
I think in politics, it is part of the game. You can hardly take away that tool from the game. And unfortunately, the usage is growing in Nigeria, in the politics. The party in question used that tremendously in the last election. So it is now between, it is now, home game. But don't forget that the party itself, its history for in recent years has been that of crisis also, except when you had Dan Wanyao as a chairman. That was the only time, that the party enjoyed the peace. Even then, you still had the Labour Congress, taking on the party from time to time. But since the last chairman before Buhari came, I think they've been immersed in crisis. And even Buhari emerged through the process also. I remember sometimes in 2017 or thereabout, there was a NEC meeting that was held, that produced the late Michael Motosho as the chairman of the party. Buhari conducted that primary as the acting secretary then, in Salam's camp, they all sacked Salam, unfortunately. And INEC monitored that NEC meeting. And unfortunately, when they were to declare or give the certificate to the man that emerged as the chairman, as a recognized chairman of the party, internal game setting. A former governor came into the party, tried to settle whatever was going on, and gave the Salam's faction, even though he practically had nobody with him again. And Buhari, deported back to Salam's faction, abandoned the NEC meeting that he held, that produced Mike as the chairman of the party, and became the acting chairman again under Salam. It was after the exit, the death of Salam, that Buhari became the chairman. However, if you look at the constitution of the party, it was not Buhari that should become the chairman. Of course, you still have the vice chairman there. You have the deputy chairman first and the vice chairman. So I think that was the beginning of the crisis that you see on ground. And this started, of course, since last year. But I'm not oblivious of the fact that Papa may not necessarily be doing this on his own. He might have some external factors, that are pushing him to do this. However, it is all politics. If they are wise, judging from or considering the fact that they gave a very good fight in the last election, it would have been good for them to talk to themselves and for the of course, in quote, leader of the party now, the last candidate, of course, the candidate of the party in the presidential election to come into the process, not getting, a faction, not getting his guys to be castigating a papa. Call them to the table. Nobody comes to the negotiating table empty-handed. They all come with something. Let there be give and take. Settle this so that the party, can be well prepared to give a better fight in the next election. Of course, Nigeria will have a lot to gain, knowing well that you have a strong opposition there. The ruling party would definitely, want to deliver on its promises. We can't afford to have a divided or a lukewarm or, a dead opposition in a time that we are. They need to put the government on, on the toes at all times. So the earlier they settle their quarrel, their fight, their division, and give, the government, I would say constructive criticism, the better for them and the country.
Thank you. Quickly, Emeka, it said propaganda is the executive arm of an invisible government. So you are not surprised in rounding off.
Yes, I'm not surprised, but I'm also disappointed at those who keep trying to make it look like there is such a big deal. Because when you listen to the pronouncements of some people in their Papa faction, you just wonder what they are really after. Are they after the success of the party, or are they looking for how the party will fail? You make certain pronouncements that that tend to make it look like you work against the success of your party in the elections. That doesn't show that you are matured, that you are playing politics of maturity. So I think the leaders of the party should
in politics you expect anything in politics.
Yeah, but politics must also be decent. There must be some decency in politics.
Okay. Asokwa, there must be some decency in politics. You agree with him?
Well, I think so, but when it comes to politics in Africa, we go all out. No matter how, you just go all out and say you shall win, and try to get the numbers.
Yeah, thank you.
Politics in Africa is static.
Thank you.
So when you want decency, they throw it to the winds.
All right. Kolawole Johnson, politics can be more decent. Agreed?
A leader describes politics as a war without bloodshed. So when they go to war, all instruments becomes legal. And see, take this. The history of the party, I repeat, has been this. Go check from state to state. The only difference now is that the party has assumed this national prominence. So whatever is going on now internally, as it's finding a good space
all right
in the national space, but they've always been like this.
Yeah, okay. KJ, we leave it there. But let me thank you in Abuja, you and your colleague Asokwa James. Many thanks for your time. Emeka Majonafu, many thanks too for your time.
Thank you very much.
And so that will just about do it for today's show. If you missed a part of this broadcast, join us at 11 tonight for a repeat. And of course, on Sunday, we go the whole hog. We expand the field for you from 1:30 to 3:30. Just to drop this, Jide is unavoidably absent. He should be back next week. Bye-bye now. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.
Pass ball. What? Care for skills. Here for choice. Here for fans. Here for dreams. Here for goals. Here for celebrations. Whether she's playing or watching the beautiful game,